One of my mentors, John Strauss, sat down with me. I'm like, I don't even know how to set a target. He's like, look, let me tell you, Warren Buffett, by the age of 28, was worth $10 million. By 47, he was worth 75 million. So it didn't happen overnight. You think of Warren Buffett today, you think, oh man, that guy's rich. He's like between 27 and 47, it took him to go from 10 million to 75 million. You need to have what you're looking for and what you want to leave here with. If you don't know what you're looking for, you won't find it. And trust me, just like the first time Natalie showed me a Grant Cardone YouTube video, and I was like, never. I put a stake in the ground for 90 days. Don't even show me that shit again. But I never stopped thinking about how did that goofy guy get so much attention? And how is he creating so much wealth? It just bothered me and bothered me and bothered me that here I am, a legitimate guy, smart as hell, and somewhere along the way, this guy just went right by me. And it made me think, what am I not doing? I'm a high belief person. I'm a high activity person. What am I doing wrong that I can't beat that? And then that drove me to shit. I don't know what that is, so I gotta go check it out. So there's two spectrums you can operate on. On the left side of the column, it's intellectual ignorance and intellectual arrogance. When I was dismissing things, I was operating on the left side. The side that allows you to be successful is the right side, intellectual awareness and intellectual curiosity. The quality of your questions will always determine the quality of your results. The better your questions, the better information you can find, the better information you can deploy. Is that logic? I would just encourage you to operate on the right side because of the stats that 10% of Americans collect 50% of all income. How do you become that 10% and then teach others to do it? If you don't learn to do it yourself, it's very difficult to teach others because you won't be an example to them. The top 1% control 31% of all wealth. Some people will say it's not fair, but I'll tell you right now, the people who know how to make money know how to make money. And even if they make it and lose it, you know how many entrepreneurs I've watched start their business, grow it, scale it, get up to 10 million or 20 million. Now, by the way, here's another interesting stat. 97% of all businesses under $100 million in size fail within 10 years. So a very small percent actually exist. And here's the thing, many of them just exist. They don't fail, but they don't succeed. So if you're in business right now, there's no guarantees, there's no certainties. And if you're in business right now and you understand that you're collecting a majority of the wealth through your business and you're not putting a plan together to show your team how to do that, you'll lose your best people. Okay, the top 10% control 68% of all wealth. There is a concentration of wealth. Now, some can say that's because if you have money, you can make money. But I would make the argument that the concentration of wealth is because once you learn how to make money, you know how to make money. So sometimes the hardest thing is just get starting on making money. So how do you become a millionaire? Well, you gotta learn to make 100 grand. How do you be worth 10 million? You gotta get to 1 million. How do you become 100 million? You gotta get to 10 million. You can't bypass 100,000, 1 million, and 10 million to get to 100 million if you don't do those things first. So what you do is you set your targets if you wanna be worth 100 million. Now for me, that target I set was 50 million when I was 26 years old. And the way I set that target is one of my mentors, John Strauss, sat down with me. Now understand, I'm a high school graduate, 2.4 GPA, barely got out of high school. The only reason I got out of high school is my dad was chairman of a little Christian school and they didn't want me there the next year. God's honest truth. I knew I could sell, and so I immediately moved to Atlanta and started working for a company selling. But when I sat down with my mentor, I'm like, I don't even know how to set a target. He's like, look, let me tell you, Warren Buffett, by the age of 28, was worth $10 million. By 47, he was worth 75 million. So it didn't happen overnight. You think of Warren Buffett today, you think, oh man, that guy's rich. He's like between 27 and 47, it took him to go from 10 million to 75 million. At 47 to 53, he went to 350 million. Now this isn't all rate adjusted, but you can Google this stuff. My target, I was like, okay, he wrote those numbers down for me. He gave me a visual representation of what was available based on what somebody actually did. And I never forgot those targets. Now at 27, I was worth 10 million. I hit it. And I was unbelievably excited about it. The problem was by 31, when my investors sold out from underneath me, I went back to zero. So I could have given up on it, but I never forgot Warren Buffett, when he was 47, was worth 75 million. Now it just so happens When I sold my business, I still hadn't forgot about it. And the reason I set the price where I set it is because I'm like, I got to get back to 75 million. See, I never forgot the target. And when I sold my business, I was 47 years old and I made 75 million. When Natalie and I showed up to meet Grant Cardone, why was one of the criteria being worth 350 million? Because Warren Buffett from 47 to 53 went from being worth 75 million to 350 million. So for me, I'm like, I hit the 75, I never gave up on it, but now I need help because I don't have visibility into how to go from 75 to 350. And so I went to Grant. He's doing for me, I'm suggesting you do for people that work with you. The numbers are different maybe right now, but that's okay. And what I need to do with you, with our team, is get you to write those numbers down. Grant said, look, if you want to be worth 350 million, here's what you need to do. Here's the activity. Here's the results we need to get. Here's the targets. I'm already worth 100 million. To be worth 350, you need a new 250 million. We can do it. See, once we met and started talking about what's possible and I showed him what I did and how it complements what he does, he saw the vision. He said, dude, I've always wanted to do this. He goes, I've tried, but I've never met anybody I could do it with. But if you're as good as you say you are, I know I'm as good as I say I am. Let's put it together. Let's set your target and let's reverse engineer what we need to do as an organization to hit target. I'm like, I'm all in. See, this is what a mentor does. This is what you need to do because the people who know how to get wealth know how to reverse engineer to find wealth. Does this make sense? And he sat with me and said, here's what we're gonna do. Now, how many of you would love to start a business from scratch, no invested dollars, no debt, and build a business that's worth $500 million in 36 months? So we started this business. The first full year was COVID. We did 14 million from startup. In 2021, we did 38 million. We just ended, we did 80 million in 3 years. The thing that's interesting is, see, I didn't believe it could happen, but when he sat down and said, here's what we need to drive to get you to $250 million value, is by the time we get here, this 80 million needs to be making $35 million in profit. Because at 12 times what the markets would pay for that right now, because we value the business every single year, 12 times what you earn, that's how people sell, 8 times, 10 times, 12 times. I sold 77 times. So this is a conservative number, but if we can get to 12 times 35 million, what's that worth? It's $420 million, of which, Brandon, you have half. That's 210, and you're already worth 100. You invest with me in Cardone Capital, putting in these assets, whatever you give me right now, it'll be worth double or triple in the next 5 to 10 years. So I gave him 17 million. Now I'll tell you, in our 3rd year in business, here we did 8 million. Here, so I'm an open book. Like, I'm gonna run this business as though it's a public company because we're gonna be public. We're gonna create an opportunity to be the example to every entrepreneur who wants to win. So I think it's important to know, if you're gonna listen to somebody, do they know how to make money? True or false? Okay, 8 million, then we made 20 million, and this year we made 35. My net worth just hit my 350 target in 36 months. And Grant says, now, do you think you were thinking too small? Let's take it to 100 million. But this is from a dead stop. If we can do this from a dead stop and we've accumulated, the reason we've been able to do that is because we've gone from non-existence to 1.4 billion in businesses in Cardone Ventures that we manage or partner with right now. All of you have an opportunity to make the same decision that Natalie and I made 3.5 years ago, which is to find a mentor who can break down and show us how to create wealth. Now, what we do with every business owner we work with and what we do with every person that comes into our company is we sit down with them and design their plan for wealth. We walk them through what are the things you're looking for? What are the things you want to accomplish personally, professionally, financially? How do you benchmark those things? What are you willing to invest to go get those things? These are the conversations we have with every single employee that we work with. And I've been doing that work with business owners and employees for almost 15 years. We manage tens of thousands of people's personal, professional, and financial goals and how they can attain them through the business. I've done that with thousands of people, but I didn't have a mentor who had done it with me other than John Strauss in my 20s, and then again, Grant Cardone in the last 3.5 years. How many of you would want to have a mentor that could show you exactly how to hit your wealth targets? And how many of you would be committed to doing whatever you had to do if you knew in the next 5 years you could create massive wealth for yourself and the people who follow you? Who would do that? Well, this is that opportunity.